This here is a LEGO version of the American M1A2 SEP V2 Abrams. It's taken roughly 2 months to complete with on and off progress. This has probably been my most detailed tank to date, fitted with the Bose control system. It is capable of a whopping 2.8 km an hour on even terrain, and 2 km an hour off-road. Now for a bit of history behind this tank. The M1 Abrams first entered production in 1978, armed with the 105mm M68A1 gun, which was a license-built version of the wonderful Royal Ordnance L7 105mm gun, found on many Western tanks of that period, and developed by the British. This gun, however, by the 80s was very outdated, along with quite a few outdated systems on the tank. For instance, the lack of commander thermals and the gun only having Gen 1 thermals was only the tip of the iceberg. If I were to list every issue, we would be here all day. Let's not do that and move on. Okay, right. So basically, the Yanks decided to add some flavour to their Abrams by adding the M256 Gun, which also happened to be a licence-built gun, this time not from us, but from the Germans. This was a licence-built Rheinmetall L44 120mm smoothbore gun. At this time we can introduce the M829 rounds, specifically designed for the M256 gun. This upgrade was called the M1A1, which was introduced in 1985. This was closely followed by the M1A2 in 1986, with further upgrades such as the long-awaited Commander's Independent Thermal Viewer, or CITV. Being upgraded once again and introduced in 1999, the M1A2 SEP also featured depleted uranium, which was also seen on some previous models of the Abrams. The depleted uranium armour is found in the turret cheeks. The M1A2 SEP V2 is the second of 3 modifications for the SEP Abrams, along with the V1 and V3. The V2 has Crow's remote control weapon system, which is the gun on the left side of the turret. Now back to the LEGO. The M1 can complete a full turret rotation in just under 4 seconds, which is quite unrealistic, but can be adjusted to the same turret rotation speed of a real M1. Here you can see the off-road capabilities, although driving it through mud does have a slight problem. When it dries, it prevents the track from moving smoothly, which makes the track come off more often. I couldn't use any torsion bars, so I resorted to using 2 road wheel bogies, although the third road wheel along is just on a pivot arm, so in some shots the road wheel is not properly sitting on the track. Each track is individually powered by a single XL motor, producing around 40 newtons per centimetre of torque. I've opted for the wider track links, which evenly spreads the weight of the tank over a larger surface, and is also why the Abrams didn't sink into the snow. The turret functions are powered by 3 motors, 2L and 1M motor to do the horizontal and vertical drive, as well as fire the small spring-loaded gun. This is an option, as you can see it in action here, however it hasn't been seen in the outside shots as I replaced it with a coaxial machine gun, not the spring-loaded gun. You can see my usual brick-built figures on top of the tank, commander and loader. On the back of the Abrams I could go wild with the stowage. These American tanks are often covered in stowage. For example, my M48 and Shermans both had a decent amount of stowage on them. As you can see on the M1, there are water bottles, soda boxes and some other boxes. The camouflage on the Abrams is a 3-tone CARC, which is made up of green, brown and black. I know it's not perfect, but it's the best I could do with what I had. One disadvantage of the M1 is that it doesn't have a standard issue kettle, which is a huge disadvantage, as the crew can't have a fresh brew of the Queen's tea on the battlefield. I find that mildly disturbing. That's it from me yabbering on about a tank and some tea. I hope you've enjoyed, thank you for watching and stay safe in these difficult times.